Hi guys, welcome back to the channel, Machining with Joe. In the last video then, you saw how I've been busy converting a Peugeot Boxer into a camper van. And the intention of that is to take this mini lathe and do some awesome machining videos. But as you can see here from this video, the mini lathe is definitely been neglected these last couple of years. The paint's peeling off and generally it's just feeling sorry for itself. So in today's video, we're going to be restoring this mini lathe, making it travel ready for the Peugeot Boxer camper van experience. But we've got one problem before we get started. Look at the state of my workshop. This has been a long winter, lots of projects on the go in the camper van, and safe to say, this workshop is looking more like a wood workshop rather than a machinist's workshop. So we need to get that sorted out and turn this back into a full functioning workshop instead of this wood dust on my equipment. So let's get cleaning. While Sped Up Joe then carries on cleaning the workshop, let me tell you more about the vision that I've got for this Warco Mini Lathe. So what I plan on doing is getting this thing painted, all lubricated up and ready to travel with me. And then I want to make some kind of storage box where I can take this in and out of the van nice and easily. So that's the intention, is basically get it painted up today. And then if enough of you comment in the comment section below, I'll do a video where I make the sort of the storage box, where I want to house this and where I want to move it in and out of the van. But getting back to the cleaning side, this workshop was an absolute mess. This minute-long video that you're seeing here now of me cleaning, it actually took closer to 2 to 3 hours to get this workshop back to how it should be. And yeah, this isn't perfect, but I think this is workable to get the project done that I need to do on the mini lathe and start getting back into my machining roots. So as you can see, we're no longer a wood workshop. The milling machine is all nice and clean. The lathe is all nice and clean. So we are ready to rock and roll. Look at that. Nice and clean. Oh, don't look at that. Don't look at that. No, but in all seriousness, guys, the surface grinder is not really being used. So if anyone wants to buy this thing off me, let me know in the comments below and we can sort something out. But back to today's project. Let's unbolt this machine and get this ready to travel. Before moving the lathe then, I just quickly gave this a once over with the hoover just to get rid of all those chips that have been stuck on the under tray for the last year. With that being done, it was now time to move the mini beast, and I've got to admit, this little thing is pretty heavy. I forgot just how heavy it was. First little job then is just to get the under tray cleaned off, as I'm going to be wanting to paint all the parts on this mini lathe to get it back to looking new. So quick blast with brake cleaner and a brush off, and this was pretty much ready to paint really. I'll probably go over it with some Scotch-Brite after, but that's where I want it. Now onto the mini lathe itself. Other than doing a paint restoration job on this, I actually want to do a little project which I've been meaning to do for a little bit of time now. And that's reconfigure the DRO cable. So at the minute the DRO plugs into a separate socket into the wall, and I want to move that so it wires directly into the lathe. So to do this, I'm just going to unbolt the back cover as you can see here, and my plan is to bring the wire into the back panel and just splice it into the main incoming lead of the milling machine itself. To splice the lathe DRO cable in with the main lathe power cable, I need to first get the cable to go through this metal plate, and unfortunately I'm not a magician, so this involves drilling a hole. The plan is to open this hole up to accept a stuffing gland, and to do that I'm just using this stepper drill bit and taking it gradually, making sure not to go too big. So first try with the gland and still not quite there, so just opened it up a little bit more. In the end this ended up being a 16mm hole, and just tidied it up with a deburring tool. Next we could fit the stuffing gland and tighten the back nut up just to make sure it's nice and secure in there. And with that being done, we now have a hole which the cable can pass through. So won't be needing this plug. Goodbye. Pushing the cable through the gland then, I allowed quite a bit of slack on this so I could cut the cable to length properly and also de-sheath the insulating material. So luckily this flexible cable is nice and easy to strip. Just made a cut in there and started pulling off the second insulation layer on the outer, and just like that we can pull down the sheath. That's a funny word, isn't it? Sheath. And yeah, just get stripping. To splice these cables together then, going to be using these Warco connectors. First time using these, but heard really good things online and through people in the trade. So these Warco connectors, you can basically, depending on what ones you buy, put different amount of cables in, and they just join all the cables up together, making it really easy for a modification like this. With those connectors onto the DRO cable, it's now time to cut the lathe cable and fit this sort of in between the cables as such. So cut the cable, strip the cable, and quite simply got them ready to go into the Warco connector. And probably should have left myself a little bit more cable here because it was still a little bit fiddly, but got it done in the end. And just like that, and the power of YouTube, all three have been done. Wow. Now it was time to reassemble this and test out to make sure the modification had worked successfully. And just for anyone that's too concerned, there's nowhere near the current needed to melt this cable, so adding an extra load like a DRO is fine. Switching it on for the first time and boom, the DRO comes straight on, and then because we've got the cover off, just tripping the safety switch, the lathe comes on also. Perfect. All off of the one plug. With that modification all now done, it was time to start stripping down the mini lathe and getting it ready to prepare it for painting. So as you can see here, I'm just taking off the gear indexer and starting to disassemble the lead screw mechanism. Undoing the lock nut on the end allowed me access to removing the nut fully off the end of the lead screw, and then just locking the half nut allowed me to fully undo the nut off the end of the lead screw. With that nut off then, it was time to crack off these cap headed bolts which retains the end bearing of the lead screw, and these two screws came out nice and easily, and with that I could just slide off the bearing assembly. Next thing I wanted to do then is undo the carriage part of the cross slide. So to do that I was quite surprised how easy this was actually. It was just two M8 cap headed bolts, and then I could slide out the carriage part along the lead screw. And finally with that off, I could then wiggle off the lead screw. Nice and easy. Next it was on to removing the splash guard on the back of the lathe then, and this first consisted of just undoing the DRO cabling which was attached to that, followed by undoing the mounting bolts which hold the splash plate onto the lathe body itself. And with these three bolts all undone, I could then wiggle out the splash plate. I think this thing is going to need a bit of painting because it's a bit rough from when I added the extension modification onto it. So now I can slide off the cross slide mechanism because there's nothing left holding this on, and being very gentle not to damage the DRO's attachment there. That has come off nicely, and then just removing the whole DRO as a complete assembly. And just like that, we have a stripped down lathe. So before getting this ready to paint then, I just wanted to remove as much grime and debris as possible. So I began by brushing it down and going over it with a generous amount of brake cleaner, before then giving it a full wipe down with a cloth. Doing that on the front and back made this thing pretty much ready to start preparing to paint, and to do so I'm going to go over it with some Scotch Brite. Looking at the back of the lathe as well, there's no real paint peeling here, so I think I'm going to leave the back pretty much untouched and can make a start on the front. With the lathe in an array of pieces now then, there was nothing more left to do than start sanding these parts down and painting them. But to do so, I'm going to be using this paint by Paragon Paints, and for anyone that wants to know, it's RAL6011. So to begin with, going to be starting on the under tray just to make sure this paint looks good. So going to just wire brush it down and give it a good clean over with some brake cleaner before wiping it down, ready to paint. So the good thing about this enamel paint, it can go on pretty much on most surfaces, other than you just got to make sure it's been degreased, and that's what the brake cleaner is for. So slapping it on with a generous amount of paint on there, and can begin brushing it in. So from the offset, this paint does look like it's a pretty good colour match. There's always going to be a little bit of difference in colour when the paint is wet, but generally I think this is going to be a good match to the original Warco paint that they use from factory. With the under tray all now painted up, we can move our attention to the other parts of the lathe. Starting with the carriage handwheel assembly then, and this was probably the part that was suffering most from the peeling paint, and looking at the surface underneath, it doesn't actually look like it's being keyed up. It's a quite shiny machine surface, so that could contribute to why the paint was peeling off. Just gently then tapping off the handwheel, just because I don't want to get much paint on that. And also then I can turn my attention to the half nut locking handle, and luckily that's just held on with one grub screw, and then you can pull it off the shaft. With that stripped down now then, I can go back to running over the wire wheel just to get off the majority of the loose paint. And once that's done, I can come back in with some sandpaper. This is 80 grit, so fairly coarse, and just run over that and remove all these shiny surfaces, because I don't want my paint to peel off in a couple of years like this did. So with all that done, it was time to go back over and start painting this. So being a little bit more cautious when painting this than I was with the under tray. Don't want to get this onto certain surfaces where they mount to the carriage, and also just don't want to get the shafts absolutely caped in paint either, so just being cautious around them. But like before, this paint applies really nicely being an enamel paint, and again it's a really good colour match, so happy with the choice of this and glad I managed to find this online. With the carriage handwheel all painted now, I can turn the attention to the tailstock, as that was suffering for some of the peeling paint. And again, similar thing, but I just didn't film it this time. Went over it previously with a wire brush and some sandpaper, and then degreased it. So here you can just see me finishing it up with the painting. And to be honest now, it's pretty much rinse and repeat for doing this on all the other components on the lathe, where the paint is severely peeling. Parts like the lathe where they're not too bad, I'm probably going to end up leaving them as is. Whilst you sit here then watching paint dry, I'm going to go away, and when I come back in a couple of days, I'm going to put this lathe back together and start a build montage. Let's get this. hope you've enjoyed today's video then, guys. If you're excited as I am to get this mini lathe out and about into the wilderness, please consider hitting that subscribe button and turning the notifications on. For now though, the lathe is powered up and we're ready to go. See you in the next one, guys.